Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Podchaser, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, and more. Why? Because I want to splatter as much hope and happiness over you. I'm on a Happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So thank you for helping me with that. You all know that I am the host of this this platform where there is no gossip, no scandal, and no K words, no Kardashian talk, no Kanye talk at all. I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And it is Women's History Month. So today's guest that I'm going to bring on after our, taking a bite of the gratitude sandwich is a woman that works with Jack Canfield, and her name is Zen Cryar DeBrucke, and she has a Smart Soul Academy, and she's going to be coming out right after the first break, so don't go away with that. But as you know, I want to balance out all of the negative news that you wake up with and you start scrolling and you see all the things that say, what's wrong with people? And is the world going to hell in a handbasket? So as per usual, we just started this hashtag Blissipline, I think at the beginning of the week, is I'd like to start every show with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So y'all know 8 specific things that you are grateful for, and you can type them in the chat. By the way, you can actually interact because we just started this week, thanks to my wonderful new engineer, Sam. We are able to take questions and comments, and you can call in Tuesdays and Thursdays with specific questions, but compliments you can call in at 888-909-1050. That's 888-909-1050. You can also go to the chats on Facebook, on YouTube. I'll be starting the Instagram Live in a bit. So there's plenty of ways to interact with me. I hope to make this a regular 8 a.m. get together so you can start your day with hashtag positively opinionated, Dr. Marissa. So 8 specific things that you are grateful for. I'll do mine, you do yours, and then feel free to type them in. So specifically, I'm grateful that I had a chance to interview Jack Canfield on a red carpet, and I have met him several times, and he's a wonderful person. Of course, those of you who know the name and are not sure where you heard it, he and his partner did, Mark Victor Hansen, did the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. That's one. I'm grateful that I got to go down to the gym and do my biking this morning before the show. I'm grateful that someone's working on my 8 Ways to Happiness audio course companion. I'm grateful that my daughters are healthy and happy. I'm grateful that my youngest daughter is about to finish up at UC Davis. I'm grateful that my older daughter, who finished at Cornell during the pandemic, just got a raise yesterday. I'm grateful I'm on 7. I'm grateful that today, after the show and a couple more interviews, I get to play Mexican Train, which is my Friday fun day. And number 8, I'm just grateful that I've gotten to do this for 515 consecutive weeks. There's my 8 specific gratitudes. What are yours? And I'll let you just say them out loud. And then don't forget, the bottom of the bun for the gratitude sandwich is at night before you go to bed. Instead of thinking about all the things that you didn't have a chance to get done, or thinking about all the things that you did wrong, or thinking about the things that you, or thinking about the things that were said about you that you didn't like, real or imagined, it's no wonder people have sleep issues. So instead of all of that, worrying about the war, worrying about the pandemic, yes, they're still there, but you do not have to think about them 24/7, especially before you go to bed. I want you to replace those worried thoughts with 8 appreciations for yourself. What are 8 specific things that you like about yourself? And I'll do the ones that I did yesterday. I'm grateful that I'm creative. I'm grateful that I'm a musician. I'm grateful that I love to laugh. I'm grateful that I helped people. I'm grateful that I got a really nice review on Amazon for 8 Ways to Happiness. I had a wonderful walk on the ocean. That's 7. And the last one is I'm grateful that we're live now, so I don't have to spend 2 hours editing this show before it goes on. So those are my 8 specific things that make me feel better about me. And when that happens, I can just lay down and have a good night's sleep. So hopefully you're going to adopt this discipline with me as we start the show this way. And I'm going to just go to break now a little bit early so we can bring our special guest highlighting Women's History Month on the air. Her name is Zen Cryar DeBrucke. And yes, I had to practice that. But we'll be right back. Keep it tuned here to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hair right. How are you? You got it?
Yeah. Can we talk now? I said, I was just looking
Back Your Life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
Good morning. Welcome back to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel, where you can get all past 655, I believe, shows now, as well as my red carpet playlist, where you'll get interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones, and Jack Canfield. So free subscribe on my YouTube channel, and then you'll get an alert at 8 in the morning when I go live with this show every 8 a.m. weekday morning. And it is Happy Women's History Month, and I have a special guest today to celebrate that. Zen Cryar DeBrucke is the founder of Smart Soul Academy, which makes accessible globally her seminal work on the internal guidance system, IGS, very clever, that has made her an international sensation. A member of the illustrious Transformational Leadership Council, created by Jack Canfield, uniting many of the world's top personal growth luminaries, Zen has worked with over 40,000 people, including training 4,000 master students on the nuances of how to recognize and act on the messages of their IGS to achieve a peak life in alignment with their soul purpose. An internationally renowned inspirational teacher, speaker, author, and executive coach, Zen's passion is teaching people to tap into their innate inner guidance to generate consistent, successful results in life. Welcome to the show, Zen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Just, do you have another something open? Because there is a little bit of an echo.
I don't have anything at all except for the StreamYard open, and everything else is shut down.
All right. Sam, do you hear the echo?
I can try putting on headphones.
That would be great. Let's try that.
All right. In the meantime,
it's so wonderful to have you here. I'm also a happy connection with Jack because he's a good friend of my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith. And so that's how I know Jack, and I've met him several times and obviously gotten to interview him at some events. So it's wonderful that I have one of his transformational counsel here with me.
Well, thank you. Is that echo a little bit better now that my headset's in?
It's perfect.
Fantastic. I'm glad we got that solved.
Yes, me too. So I don't have an answering machine. I have a questioning machine. And when you call me, I say, who are you and what do you want? So Zen, who are you and what do you want?
Well, I am someone who has discovered their internal guidance system. And what I really, really want is for every human being to know that they were born with this system, that as you go through your day, it gives you sensations that allow you to reprogram your mind as you live your life with ease. And it transforms and changes everything. And I think it's one of the key aspects that will bring peace and harmony to our planet. And so who I am is someone who's a stand for everyone getting to make their deepest contribution so they feel fulfilled and they get to be seen for who they are, and for everyone to be able to contribute in recreating heaven on earth, because I do believe that that is 100% possible. And I've seen it in thousands and thousands of people's lives once they begin using this incredible tool.
Wonderful. Now, did you know when you were a kid, this is what you would be doing?
No, in fact, I came from a really rough childhood. I had different levels of abuse, and I emancipated myself from my parents because I needed to get away from their influence when I was 17. And I came out of the chute, so to speak, angry and frustrated and confused and feeling as if I didn't matter. And a friend of mine who loved me very much gave me a cassette tape in 1993 of a little known person named Abraham Hicks. You're familiar with Esther Hicks? because she wanted me to know that I was creating my reality, right? Well, and I love the law of attraction piece and all that, but what they said was on this tape was that we all have an internal guidance system, and that when we're feeling a tightness in the center of our body, that means we're out of alignment and creating something we absolutely don't want. And when we feel an expanded feeling, a light feeling in the center of our body, that we're creating what we do want, and we need to learn to follow that light feeling. And I knew from the depth of my being that every time I blew it in my life, quit a job that I should have kept, expecting them to chase me down the sidewalk and say, no, 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 come back, or broke up with a boyfriend, or bit somebody's head off, or spent money that I wasn't supposed to, I felt this tight feeling. And so I went about looking to see how to find out more about this, and I couldn't find it. I went to the library, and I called Abraham Hicks organization. They said, no, what comes through because it's channeled. And so I just went on my way at 23, really focusing on what was going on. And I decoded this aspect of who we are, and it transformed my life. Within 8 years, I was a tech CEO in the central of San Francisco, working with Fortune 500 companies. I had graduated from UC Davis, having gone from being a high school dropout. I know your daughter went to UC Davis. I love UC Davis. And everything changed. And I was shocked at how fast, once you're in alignment, magic and synchronicity happen in your life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're preaching to the choir. And of course you're an Abrahammer. I am as well. So I call myself an AAA threat. So agape and awesome. Abraham. So absolutely. So what has this got to do with the critical voice that goes on in your head? So I think it has a huge relationship. I'm setting you up here. So talk to me about the things that get in our way.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Most of the programming that happens in our lives happens between the ages of 0 and 7 years of age. And what happens is during that time, we are absorbing like a sponge everything around us so that we can learn how to survive and fit in with our culture, our family culture, our culture at large. We watch people's expressions and all of that. And unfortunately, for many of us, our parents didn't really know how to parent. They would just have a knee-jerk reaction from their own programming when they were a kid. And that stuff gets embedded. And what happens is that critical voice that you're talking about isn't even really our voice. It's somebody else's voice, and we're hearing them inside of our heads as if it's ourselves. And what happens is, if it's not true, you get a tight feeling, like a lump in your throat, a tight feeling in your chest, or a sick feeling in your solar plexus. And these are 3 different areas. This one's about self-worth. This is about current time information. And the solar plexus is about our belief systems that no longer work for you. So let me give you an example. Do you know what color, and I love all your listeners to put it in the chat if they want to, what color is a yield sign in the United States?
Yellow.
Okay. Most people, I would say 90% to 95% of people say yellow and black. In 1971, the US decided to change the yellow yield sign to red and white. Now everybody's going to run to Wikipedia. And from 1974 on, it has not been yellow and black, it's been red and white. There's not been a single one in function. But what happens is that once we have something inside of our mind, and yes, everybody, you can go to Wikipedia, it's all there. Go to the Department of Transportation, you'll find it. But there's listeners out there who are flipping out right now because they can picture it. It's so real, they can picture it. And so what happens is that's still being reproduced on book covers, T-shirts. Sesame Street a couple of years ago had it on Sesame Street. So my little one, who was 6 at the time, saw it. It's constantly being reproduced, even though it doesn't exist. And we have no mechanism that we knew of, now we do, that updates our mind. So when you drive past a red and white yield sign, it doesn't go, wait, that's not yellow and black anymore. And so when you are told you're stupid, you talk too much, your energy's too high, you'll never make it, you're not smart enough for that, these things that happen, or even just watch somebody like your mom and dad continuously talk about their own failure and how everything's too hard, this gets embedded and it stays there. And what I found is this internal guidance system is so profound. When you feel the tight feeling, it means what you're thinking is not true or not going to happen. And that is old programming that can be updated. And so you can learn to pivot, and you feel the release, and that nervous system release towards the more true and aligned thought begins to take hold. And the programming from 0 to 7 starts to go into neural extinction, is what they call it. And you are creating a new pathway, a new groove that you can tell is actually true for you. So that's what this system we were born with does. We were designed to reprogram our mind and not have old patterns construct our current reality.
Interesting. I want you to use me as an example now, since this is my show.
Yes.
If you don't mind, because I think I shared yesterday, if you watch a lot of my shows with people who are diet or non-diet, like Janine Roth or anyone who's come on my show to talk about weight loss, I have that deeply embedded, I'm one of the 7 out of 10, sounds like you were too, who had childhood abuse. So I was told I was fat, ugly, and clumsy through those formative years and beyond. Mm-hmm. And so needless to say, I've struggled with my weight. I've gained and lost probably 1,000 pounds in my life. And then I picked a man who would introduce me to people behind my back as my wife is obese. And they would meet me, and I was thinner then than I am now. And they would meet me and say, but you're not obese. Now, I understand that I attracted that. I understand my part in that. But the bottom line is, no matter it's been the one thing that I just, like everything else in my life is so amazing and wonderful. And I talk about 88% happy because we can't be happy all the time. So that 12% is usually centered upon me looking in the mirror. And believe me, I've done a lot of Abraham work on this. I love my body for what it can do, but I used to model and I look at those pictures and that's where I want to be. And if I'm not there, then I've let myself go. So there's the setup. We may have to break as you start.
That's okay.
For another break. But I was hoping, as you were talking, that you could help with this using your IGS.
Absolutely. We have good success with people in food issues. So there's a couple of things. First of all, getting to the core of what those thoughts are and then learning to pivot to what is true, because you can feel the tightness. But the other thing that's really important is, and especially with things that are compulsions like food, alcohol, those kinds of things, we have so many thoughts about what is the right way to do something. And there is no right way. There's a right way for you. And so the most important thing is like, for instance, we had someone who was a night owl. She worked nights. She would try to stop eating at 10 because that's what they said to do. And she'd had food issues her whole life. And then she would beat herself up, binge anyways at 10 because that's her normal dinner time working as a graveyard person. And then that stress, the cortisol from having done something that she, in her mind, felt was not true, the tightening is part of the cortisol experience, would cause it to go straight to fat. And so the key here is, and it would take a little bit of time, and I'd love to just work with you for a session for free. I'd love to have you experience this, is to really go through and look at your rules and look at which ones close you and find the ones that open you, because once they open you, there's literally a new energy in the body that this is the way to eat. And a lot of the things that we do that cause us to have guilt and fear and anxiety around what how we're experiencing and acting in life are not true.
Interrupt you. I'm so sorry. We have to go to break. But when we return, more with Zen and Dr. Marissa talking about weight here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Hey, Sam, let's not do a 3/4 break. How's it going? Is the sound okay? Good. How long? Okay.
I know.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming now live on YouTube channel, Facebook. And I'm going to start the Instagram. I almost forgot. But I'm so delighted to have a special guest again for Women's History Month, highlighting women and the strides that we've made and some wonderful processes that we can help ourselves feel better about ourselves. So welcome back, Zen. And I know that women seem to be a little harder on themselves than men do. Now, I want to go back to the weight thing, but that just hit me as a question that I wanted to ask you. Have you found that? Do you have more women clients, or that critical, not thinking you're good enough? Would you say that it's there is a gender difference there?
No, actually, I do have a lot of women in our Smart Soul Academy, but we also have men, and it's mainly because our marketing. The women are where we've been actually going out to get awareness about this. My executive clients that are in like top tech and financial firms are men, and they get just as much out of this, and they're just as critical. We have a tendency, though, to be critical about different things. Women are more critical about their bodies, their emotions, and what their parenting, and at times some about career, but men are mostly critical about their bodies, but from a place of aging. They don't want to look old, and their career, that they're not where they should be, and providing for their family, that there's things that their families want that they're not able to provide. And so we're equally critical. I think it's a human experience, really, to be honest, because we really our marketing in the world points out our flaws, and that in order to have this will make you more flawless, right?
Yeah.
And that gets into our subconscious, and I think it really hurts who we are and our joy.
Yeah. So integrating what I've heard from you before the break, as well as in my situation with my weight, it's my mother's voice that you're fat, ugly, and clumsy, but I've added to it. So I've added my husband's, you're, obese. I've added, you've let yourself go, which, nobody's really said that to me, but I feel it. I've added in, when I shared this with someone who wanted to go on a date, I said, I'd be very intimidated by your body, because he's buff and all that. And his response was, we'll keep the lights low. So that's now integrated into that. So using IGS, I know that these thoughts are wrong. I know that they're not good for me. I know that I don't know that it's not true. I guess that's the part. Even if I said 88% of the time, I know it's BS, it's a belief system that doesn't work for me, I still have that when I look in the mirror and I see the flab, or I get on the scale and, it's gone up again. So help me specifically using IGS. What could I start to do?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and walk you through an exercise around this, but it's really not an exercise-based work. These tightenings, I just want to give the caveat to your listeners, these tight feelings in our body that are letting us know we have old programming are happening all throughout our day. You get a bill, and maybe your stuff is finances, and we're all unique. That's why it's so beautiful, because you work on your specific thoughts throughout the day. So for now, I just want you to feel what I'm talking about. Think of one thing, and not the larger conversation, but one thing about that you do during the day that causes you stress around food, eating. Maybe it's you got a sugar thing, or you love your starches, or that I shouldn't be eating this, or I eat too much. What is it? Just hold that thought. Don't tell me.
Okay.
And now, as you're holding that thought, where is it showing up in your body? How's it feeling?
Well, my stomach's been tight this whole time, just talking about it. So
Yeah.
It hasn't let loose. And honestly, I don't have a sugar thing. This is where I get confused, because, people who watch me eat, or the things that I eat, I'm not,
yeah.
I'm not the normal, sit down with ice cream or cookies. I don't rarely eat flour now, because I know that I get bloated. So I'm really good at not doing the things that I know I'm not
Totally. But your body's going to show up the way your framework for your body is. So let me just show you one thing real quick. So in this center triangle area of your stomach, this is where our belief systems are activated by our internal guidance system. They're a whole body of thought that's coloring the way we think about ourselves in a large way. That's what that is. Okay. So I want you to just feel that for a second. Close your eyes. This is just an example, but this isn't how you would use it. Think about your food and feel that tightness. Okay. Now, try not to question the thought, because it really doesn't matter whether you believe the thought or not for this to work. Just hold this thought for me without trying to question. It's not a negative thought. It doesn't mean anything. But hold this thought. What I'm thinking is not true or not going to happen. I am closed. What I'm thinking is not true or not going to happen. And just hold that thought for a moment as you're sitting there, and notice if you sense any difference in that sensation. Okay. Now, did you notice any difference, like a light ease, or like you could breathe a little bit more energy in the body?
I got a little sad, because I remembered something that my mom said that I forgot, which is, if you don't stop eating like that, you're going to be 200 pounds.
Okay, great. Use that thought. So there's a sadness. Emotions are different than your internal guidance system, which is where this work is a little separate from Abraham Hicks. You can have an emotional experience from a story you're telling yourself that's not true and still feel the opening and closing. So hold that thought of what your mom said. And with that thought, because we always want to work with what your mind is giving you, so that's how we reprogram it. With that thought, hold the thought. That's what I'm thinking. I am closed. What my mom said is not true or not going to happen. I am closed. That means what my mom said is not true or not going to happen. And notice any sensation difference.
I just let out a deep breath.
Yes, like more air in the body, right? If you keep holding that thought, right? Now, what you just did, go ahead and open your eyes. Now, as you learn to do this throughout your day, that moment that you just had, as the tightness comes in, you find the thought and then you shift. And in that shift, you've started a new neural pathway using your nervous system. And I believe there's a divine presence that also works with us. And the more that people learn to use this, the more they find that there's a centered, beautiful energy that's coming through as they clear out the resistance. There's room for our divinity to expand. And that's where the healing begins. And it doesn't matter whether you're an atheist or not, it still works, you know, and you could just call it instinct like the animals have. But here's the thing. It may take you 30 or 40 times doing that with a thought over the course of a week or so. But here's the cool thing. I'll give you an example. What I got from my mom was that everybody hated us. They thought we were poor and they talked behind our back whenever we weren't around. And so I picked up that every time I went anywhere, people were saying negative, nasty things about me and I wasn't wanted. I was rejected. Well, after using this for that purpose, it took about 2 or 3 months. I actually walked through a room with 2 people whispering in the corner at an event that I was hosting. And I got all the way through the room and into the other room. And I suddenly hit me. I didn't even think once that they were talking about me. Same thing with people who didn't call me back. If somebody didn't call me back within a certain period of time, I would freak out that I'd done something wrong and my head would go. I would lose my presence. I would be like, what did I do? When was the last time I saw them? Have they seen somebody that doesn't like me? You know, like that whole thing gone.
Yeah, I call that MSU University, making shiitake up.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can, by just stopping and going, wait, that's not true. I can feel it. And when you say it's not true, and there's other techniques too, you feel this, the new neural pathway starts and the old one begins to die. And in just doing this, not only in the moment are you producing a sense of peace and truth and centeredness and confidence in your body that you can trust, but also you're reprogramming your neural pathways so that those old things that cause the deepest level of suffering, like you can't speak up in a meeting, or you just blew it with your kids, or you're not feeding your kids good enough food, or you're not making enough money, everything can come through this truth inside your body. And I have found miraculous stories, you know, like the woman I was telling you about, who once we found out that there was no problem with her eating late at night because of her schedule, she dropped 25 pounds and she no longer has eating issues. She had a set of rules that weren't true for her, and the stress itself and the closing, once she figured out what was true for her, her body came back into natural center. It happens all the time. And we have here's another one. This is an amazing story. This is an example of how powerful this is. There was a woman who was studying with us. She had been sick and she had gotten behind on her property taxes. She was getting threatening letters, but every time she went to pay them with her savings, which would have pretty much wiped out her savings, she had this tight closed feeling, meaning it's not true that she needs to pay her property taxes and it's not true what's going to happen. But how can that be? Of course you have to pay your property taxes. 2 weeks later, she went to the bank and she was sitting there and one of the bankers walked up and said, hey, we have a special on refinancing your house as the interest rates are low. Do you want to check this out? She said, sure. So they sat down, she qualified, and he goes, oh no, I see you have 2 years of back property taxes. And she was like totally ashamed, she said instantly, which shame is closing. And he said, no, it's okay. How about if we roll them into the loan and then we'll add your property taxes in monthly? Not only did she wipe out her taxes, not only was she didn't have to worry about them anymore because they were in the loan. With the interest rate change, she actually had her payments be $200 less a month. So if she had paid her taxes and wiped out her savings, right? But your internal guidance system knows these things. It is, I have sat at the airport waiting on a flight that they told me wasn't going to come in, feeling like a nut job because I was closed at leaving the airport. And I felt this opening that I was going to get there, only to be with my buddy the only two people on a plane going exactly where we needed to be. And I made my speaking event where I was the moderator for a panel the next day. Mm-hmm. You know, where everybody else, I mean, they literally said, you need to leave. It's getting snowed in here in Denver. So there's a wisdom and a profound experience that's happening, and we have access. Everybody was born with it, and we have access to it. So once you're trained and this is decoded, everything changes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced that like Elon Musk and these people already have this. That's why mm-hmm. there's a shift in the difference in who they are and who we are.
What if it is not a total lie? So you open says, you know, you've let yourself go. And so there is a part of that, well, you know, I did gain, you know, 25 pounds trying to get sober. I have let myself, you know, gain 3 pounds every year since then. And so when I say that's not true, it's really, that's a lie too. So here, part of that is true.
So let me tell you, if it's true, it will open you. Okay, so here, I'll give you an example. My husband and I were in an argument because he was calling me manipulative. He said, stop trying to manipulate me. Now, I'm not a manipulative person. And my mind immediately with its story went to seeking something, conniving, icky woman, right? But I said, I thought, I am not manipulative. And I closed, which means what I'm thinking is not true. So I was like, wait, honey, I closed. I am manipulative. And my body went, now I said, wait. I disagree with this. And you'll find that you'll disagree with your IGS in the beginning. Eventually you don't care because everything always works out better when you use your IGS. I said, tell me what you're talking about. And he said, you come in with such exuberance and such excitement and you want to have this thing happen. And if I say no, it's going to hurt your feelings and I'm going to look like the bad guy. So I feel manipulated to keep you happy to have to do this thing. Now that's not the kind of manipulation I was thinking about. I've had people work with this where they said, I am not a racist, and they closed. And they went, whoa, because they really didn't think they're a racist. They don't have those feelings. But there's an underlying subconscious stereotyping and thing going on that they're unaware of because they were raised in this culture. And when they go, wait a minute, I do have some racist stuff going on. And now all of a sudden they can listen. If it's true, your body opens and you feel a sense of peace, and it's something you know that you need to work on. Now with you, what I would imagine is happening is that, yes, that there's a way in which you've let yourself gain weight, but the consequences that your mind tells you is going to happen for you. The story, I can't find love. I'm never going to be comfortable in my body again. This is the way it's going to be forever. I've done everything I can possibly do and I still can't make this work. All that pain and that hurt and all of that is not true. Is not true. All right. I have 2 clients who lost weight and their husband says, honey, I like you better, bigger. You know, you don't feel the same. You were my baby, you know, and they gained a little weight back because they were like, I just got too skinny for my man, mm-hmm. You know. So the thing is like, we don't know what's going to make us happy because the people that influenced us when we were little didn't know either, because our life is unique and beautiful and we're an incredible contribution. And those things that they put on top of us covers up that authenticity and that movement in our lives where we get stuck in their beliefs and who they are. And this tool whips those away day by day. And it's so cool because it's like these thoughts all day long get corrected. And the next thing you know, everything's different and you don't even realize really how it happened, mm-hmm. because it was so natural. Mm-hmm. It was just natural to pivot into the opening.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, it's resonating because I'm all about balance. So it's that middle place where you're not, you know, you're not shitting on yourself, but you're also taking some responsibility for what you can do.
Exactly. And it leads you. It'll tell, you'll open at the direction that you need to take that will give you the how-to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It will give you the how-to.
That's the Abraham inspired thought. Lining up with the
yeah. As you get more advanced in the program, 2-3 months in of studying, what happens is you just go from opening, you sit and you're listening, which is this peaceful centered divine calling in, where you're just sitting and you can feel from your body this thing coming up of what the next right thing to do is and what the next right thing to do is. Mm-hmm. And you know, yesterday we were in Costco and my daughter wanted to buy this pillow and she was going to spend her own money. She's 13 and she picked it up and she goes, I'm closed. I don't feel like this is the right purchase. And she put it back, and I was so proud of her. I was like, yes, but she uses it all the time about, yeah, this person's not the right friend for me, Mom. I don't think this is a good fit. And stuff like that. She'll come home. I met somebody.
How old is she?
She's about 13.
Oh, wow. That's pretty powerful at 13. Good for her.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So,
now, do you practice? Are you 100% on your own practice?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, but absolutely. But I'll tell you what, I talk to my students about this too. I have my closings. I get stuck in I call hijacking, where your mind takes off and it's like runs away with you about something. It's not about but I can correct quick. Like within 20, 30 minutes, I'm like, wait a minute, I am so close. Wait a minute, let's see what's going on here. Most of the time, I don't have that happen. It has to be something big, like when my dad died, and I had all these things going on with his estate. I had quite a few moments where I had to recorrect course and stop and be like, wait a minute, because we all go in conscious and conscious. It's like the tide, going in and out in the ocean. I think it's a natural part of who we are, actually. And I don't think we're supposed to be on center present all the time. But this is a tool where you can catch it fast and you don't do damage or sabotage things. My marriage is incredibly happy because I can call myself on stuff.
Does he do the same practice?
No.
He doesn't?
No. I don't want him to, because I think it's appropriate to have a level of coaching, kind of thing. And I find that there's a lot of men that don't when women are studying this, but what ends up happening is they trust our opening. So he'll come to me and be like, does this open you? Does it not open you? What do you think about this? Hey, got this thing going on at work, So I tune in for him. That's okay with me. That's okay with me.
How did you guys meet?
We went to school together in high school. And at our 20-year reunion, we met again, and 8 months later we were married. And it was my first marriage at 38.
Wow.
I wasn't going to get married, and I call him my ambush hunter. He kind of came out of the sidelines and was like, I was like, hey, look at you. You're amazing. So Wonderful. It's really cool. We're one of those stories. Yeah. Wonderful. I have something special for your listeners. I was just going to ask. Cool.
So Asian Oprah giveaway.
Yep. It's awesome. So you can find out to study this at Smart Soul Academy, which you saw.com. But if you go to smartsoulexperience.com, Smart Soul Experience, we put together something very special. In the community, you'll see a community code, put in Asian Oprah, and you will get access to a 4-video series. The first thing that you have to do is connect your mind to your IGS. And so the first practice does that. And then we teach you how to find your openings. And there's 4 videos that get you started using this throughout your day. You'll get one a day for 4 days specifically for this. And they're short videos. They're like 7 minutes each that just walk you through. Here's what it is. Here's how to use it. Try this for the day. So Asian Oprah at smartsoulexperience.com. And then you'll also get a huge discount if you decide to purchase or to enroll in the membership, which is $47 a month. We'll give you a big discount on our registration fees.
Okay, and I just typed that in. And we'll put that in the ticker so that people can grab that.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So everything is Smart Soul Academy. If they want to get a hold of you to do individual coaching, to join the courses, and I guess you have a train the trainer kind of system too. So if you want to be a master trainer, to go there, and that's smartsoulacademy.com, and make sure you get the free Asian Oprah giveaway. The reason why I'm Asian Oprah is actually because Michael Bernard Beckwith, who you know, introduced me to Oprah as the Asian Oprah. That's how that came about, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Now, last question I always ask my guests is, to who or what are you most grateful for? To who or what are you most grateful for?
Oh, God, that's a hard one to narrow down. There's so many. I'm grateful to God. I feel so blessed that I got to discover this. It's been 23 years of me discovering and teaching this, and to just be able to watch people's lives transform into a place where they don't have any stress, anxiety, worry, fear, overwhelm, those things anymore, that it's just guidance, that they need to shift their thinking. And the miracles that I've seen, I'm grateful that I got to do this.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room with our guest today, Zen Cryar DeBrucke.
Thank you.
And if you do this with me, this is how I go out. Peace in, peace out.
Peace
World peace through inner peace. Now go forth and multiply the openness that you are and have the best day. Oh, best weekend ever. We'll see you on Monday on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.